Welcome to Artificial Fluency Podcast. You're here because you want to level up your English and, well, you want to do it efficiently. We get it.
Yeah.
You're looking for those smart habits, the ones that actually make a difference without adding hours to your already packed day.
Mm-hmm.
So for this deep dive, we've looked at a range of experiences and advice from fellow English learners. Everything from quick daily phrase reviews to, more involved practice methods. And it's all centered around one key idea: how to build a powerful English learning routine right into your mornings.
Yeah, leveraging that time.
Exactly. Our mission is pretty simple: to extract those actionable morning habits that can genuinely boost your listening, speaking, and writing skills. And importantly, without feeling like just another chore on your to-do list.
And what's fascinating when you look at successful language learners is, well, their specific routines vary, obviously, but the underlying principles, they're surprisingly consistent. One of the biggest ones is the strategic use of repetition and the power of just making language learning a non-negotiable part of your morning. It's not just about doing something every day. It's really about the cumulative effect of those small, consistent actions over time.
Exactly. Like take Daniel, for example. We looked at his experience, and a simple shift made a real difference for him.
Oh.
He started listening to short English podcasts while having his coffee. Pretty standard, right?
Sounds simple enough, yeah.
But the key wasn't just hearing the English. He actively tried to catch phrases, even repeat them out loud sometimes. And he found this little habit. It didn't just improve his listening comprehension, it surprisingly helped his writing too.
Ah, interesting.
What do you think the connection is there?
Well, that's a great question. Daniel's experience really aligns with this idea that listening to natural spoken English, it exposes you to correct sentence structures, vocabulary used in context, the whole natural flow. So by trying to repeat phrases, he was actively engaging with these patterns.
Right.
Which likely reinforced them in his mind, made them more available when he sat down to write. It's a kind of implicit learning, really.
Okay, that makes sense.
And we see a similar benefit in Sarah's routine, too.
Ah, Sarah. Tell us about her. She also juggles a busy schedule, doesn't she?
Yes, very busy.
Yeah.
And she integrated English learning by listening to short stories while she was getting ready in the morning. But, like Daniel, she didn't just stop at listening.
Okay.
She made a point of writing down the main points of the story and any new vocabulary she came across.
Oh, that's clever. Layering the skills.
Exactly. It's a fantastic example of layering. The listening becomes a trigger for vocabulary building and writing practice, all squeezed into a relatively short time frame.
It really is encouraging, isn't it? Seeing that even dedicating those small pockets of time, maybe just, 10 to 15 minutes each morning, can really add up.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to feel like this huge, daunting task. Okay, so let's dig into some really practical morning habits now for improving specific skills. Let's start with listening. What stood out there from our sources?
Well, like we just discussed, both Daniel and Sarah's experiences highlight how effective it is to incorporate short English audio into your existing morning routine. Breakfast, getting ready, whatever works.
Right.
And this introduces the idea of passive listening, just having English sounds around you while you're doing other things. But, and this is important, some sources caution against relying only on passive listening. What are your thoughts on that balance? Passive versus active.
Yeah, that's a crucial point. I mean, just having it on in the background is one thing. Maybe it helps a little with rhythm.
Maybe, yeah, familiarity.
But actively engaging with it.
Yeah.
That seems to be where the real gains happen. Like we heard about Emily. She switched from music to English podcasts during her morning walks.
Yeah.
And she specifically noticed an improvement in understanding different accents and expressions.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely more active than just background noise, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Emily made a conscious choice there. She focused her attention on the English content. And building on that, some experiences, like Simon's, really emphasize listening to podcasts that feature real-life conversations, casual language.
Yeah, not just textbook stuff.
Exactly. This exposes you to all the nuances of spoken English, the filler words, the interruptions, the slang things you might not find in more formal learning materials.
And then there was this idea of mindful listening. Sarah, again, she took this a step further sometimes. She'd replay segments of podcasts and try to repeat them, really paying attention to the speaker's tone, their intonation, the rhythm.
Yes, that's so important.
It's not just about understanding the words, but tuning into how they're being said.
Precisely. Focusing on intonation and rhythm isn't just about sounding more native, although that helps. It actually trains your ear to the emotional nuances, the implied meanings in spoken English. That's a crucial aspect of fluency, often overlooked. Another valuable technique highlighted was learning to listen for key details, not getting bogged down trying to catch every single word.
Yes. Less pressure.
Exactly. David's habit of listening to news podcasts is a good example. Focus on the main points. Don't panic if you miss a word here and there.
Mm.
Plus, as Sarah in the UK found by listening to American podcasts, intentionally exposing yourself to different accents is really key for improving overall comprehension. Don't just stick to one kind.
Good point. And we shouldn't forget the visual side either. John recommended watching short English videos like tutorials, talks, interviews.
Right. Video helps too.
He suggested using subtitles initially, which can be helpful, sure, but the real magic happens when you rewatch without them and really try to understand just by listening and seeing.
That reinforcement is powerful.
Mm.
Okay, so moving on to speaking. This is often where learners feel, well, a bit more hesitant, maybe self-conscious.
Yeah, definitely. The fear of making mistakes.
But our sources offer some really accessible morning habits here too. James, for instance, he found it incredibly helpful to simply speak to himself in English while getting ready.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just talking to himself.
Yeah, he'd narrate his actions. Okay, now I'm brushing my teeth. I need to find my keys, or talk through his plans for the day in English.
You know, it sounds a little strange maybe, but what's the benefit there?
It makes so much sense when you think about it. It's a completely low-pressure way to build comfort and confidence using English.
Right, no audience.
Exactly. No fear of making mistakes in front of someone else. Just getting your mouth used to forming the words, thinking on your feet in English.
I like that.
Yeah.
We also saw the recommendation to practice reading aloud, right?
Yeah.
Books or articles.
Yes, that came up too. Helps with pronunciation clarity, builds confidence in hearing your own voice speaking English smoothly.
Mm-hmm. And Calm's method. Practicing introducing himself, saying simple sentences in front of a mirror.
Another great technique for building those foundational speaking skills. It lets you focus on both your pronunciation and your body language. Both are important for communication.
Okay.
And for a more active technique, there's shadowing. Have you tried that?
I have. It's where you listen and repeat almost simultaneously, right? Trying to match the speaker.
Exactly. Matching pronunciation, intonation, rhythm. James found this really helpful with news broadcasts to get a feel for natural speech patterns.
Yeah, it can be quite intense, but effective.
And, of course, if you have the opportunity, even short English conversations with a partner or spouse in the morning, that can make a huge difference. Real interaction.
Definitely. Okay, let's switch gears to writing. What kind of morning habits can help boost written English?
Well, again, a variety of approaches came up. Daniel's routine writing about his plans for the day, or even short stories every morning. That's a fantastic way to just start thinking directly in English and improve clarity of expression.
Getting those thoughts flowing onto paper or a screen.
Precisely. It's about activating that part of your brain.
And we circle back to Sarah again. After listening to her English stories, she'd write down the main points and new vocabulary.
That consolidation step.
It's such an effective way to solidify what you've learned and practice writing skills at the same time. Really efficient.
Absolutely. And for those aiming maybe more at professional writing, Tom's habit of writing short emails daily is very practical, targeted.
Like practice work emails.
Yeah, focusing on conciseness, using appropriate language for that context, specific practice.
I see. We also heard about Rachel's habit writing quick summaries of news articles or blog posts.
Right. That helps with understanding structure, extracting key information, skills that are totally transferable to your own writing. Summarization is harder than it looks.
So true. And for a more personal touch, keeping a daily journal in English, even just a few sentences.
The journaling habit. Robert's example showed how using prompts, if you need them, can help get you started. Don't stare at a blank page.
Good tip. And even something simple like writing reviews in English,
Yeah.
after you eat out or watch a movie.
Yeah. Real-world writing practice. It connects the language to your actual life.
Okay, one more skill area. Vocabulary. How can we tackle that in the morning?
Well, Anna's experience is classic but effective. Keeping a dedicated notebook for new words encountered while reading or listening.
The old vocabulary notebook still works.
It really does if you actually review it.
Ah, yes. The reviewing part.
Which leads to Tom's method, flashcards. With the word and maybe an example sentence, he reviewed them daily.
Yeah, flashcards are great for active recall. Forces you to remember.
Definitely. And Sarah had another good method, writing down new words she heard the previous day and then actively trying to use them in sentences that morning.
Oh, applying them immediately. Smart.
Very smart. Makes the new vocabulary stick much better than just memorizing a list.
And technology helps too, right? Lily used a language app every morning.
Lots of apps focus specifically on vocabulary expansion, often in bite-sized chunks, perfect for the morning.
So finding one that works for you.
Yeah, and creating your own personalized flashcards based on words you encounter in your daily routines. That makes learning more relevant and memorable than generic lists.
True, connecting it to your own world.
And even simpler, labeling objects at home in English. Liam did this. It constantly reinforces vocabulary through visual association. You see the word table on the table every morning.
Simple but effective. Okay, so we've got all these fantastic ideas. Listening, speaking, writing, vocab. Lots you can do in the morning. But the big question is, how do we actually make these habits stick? What strategies did our sources highlight for consistency?
The million-dollar question. The importance of setting small, achievable daily goals really came through. Emma's example reminded us consistency over intensity, especially at the start.
Don't try to do everything at once.
Exactly. Pick one small thing. Also, setting reminders on your phone. David did this for short practice sessions. Sounds basic, but it can be surprisingly effective just to get that little nudge.
Yeah, it just takes the thinking out of it sometimes.
And incorporating English practice into existing morning activities. That seems key for many people.
Right, the multitasking we mentioned.
Emily and Anna listening to podcasts while walking, cleaning, cooking, finding those natural integration points in your routine so it doesn't feel like you're adding a whole new block of time.
Stacking habits.
Habit stacking, exactly. Lucy's idea of mini English challenges also sounded fun. Adds a bit of engagement.
Like what kind of challenges?
Could be anything. Learn 3 new idioms today. Describe your breakfast in English. Have a 1-minute conversation with yourself about the weather. Just little things to keep it fresh.
I like that. Gamification almost.
Sort of. And for speaking practice, David's experience using language exchange platforms for short morning chats with native speakers, that highlights the value of real-time interaction, even just for a few minutes.
Yeah, finding these opportunities.
We also saw the recommendation again for language learning apps, specifically for short, focused practice sessions. Tom found these helpful. Good for fitting into tight schedules.
Bite-sized learning.
Exactly. And finally, something a bit different. Sophia's practice of visualizing success. Picturing herself using English confidently.
Does that really help?
It can be a powerful tool for maintaining motivation, yeah. Reinforces your long-term goals and keeps you focused on why you're putting in the effort each morning.
Interesting. So it really seems like incorporating even just a few small, consistent English learning activities into your morning can genuinely lead to significant improvements across the board: listening, speaking, writing, vocab.
Absolutely. It's not about overhauling your entire morning, is it? It's about being strategic, adding small, impactful habits that build over time.
So for you, our listener, the encouragement is really to think about what we've discussed today and choose maybe just 1 or 2 habits that resonate with you, things that seem like they could fit into your current morning routine.
Don't overcommit.
Right. Pick one thing. And maybe, why not give it a try starting tomorrow?
Yeah, just start. And maybe this raises an important question for you to consider. What if dedicating just 15 minutes of your morning to English could unlock a new level of confidence and fluency you haven't yet imagined?
That's a powerful thought. We invite you to explore further. Think about the specific areas of English you want to improve most, and maybe do a little more research into additional resources or techniques that align with the kinds of morning habits we've talked about today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.